Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's another show. It's another time. A great day to be alive. We're about to do this once again. This is the replay. Buckle up. Let's go. Good evening. Welcome again to another edition of the replay where we're still trying to make your day. I'm your host, Jabril A. Rashad, aka Real Deal Jabril. And of course, joining me to the stage is none other than my co-host, my guy, Mr. Darron Alexander the Great.
Hey,
DA,
what's
what
up?
to do this evening? How you doing, my brother?
All good, man. How's it going?
Oh man, we here live once again on Tuesday evening. We're gonna try to get this Tuesday and this Thursday, and I know we got a lot coming up this weekend, especially with the NFL season kicking off this week here. But before we do anything, we get started, man. Don't y'all forget to hit that like, share, subscribe, and notification button. Well, we are still growing the channel. We're up over 155 subs, and we're still growing. So tonight, DA, we want to cover this past weekend. College football got off to a great season. I think there were some great games that was being played, but we also got to talk about this tragedy, man, on all levels with local Dallas police officer Darron Burks. And we're gonna get to that a little bit later. But first, man, I gotta talk to you about what happened this past weekend. We had the 5 picks, and I came out on top, but I came out on top by one game. But we started off, man, with these Colorado Buffaloes who defeated North Dakota. And if anybody was listening to me last week, DA would have doubts. I kept saying that Colorado Buffalo was going into North Dakota to play, man. And boy, was I wrong. They actually played the game, man, at home in their home stadium. But Shedeur Sanders, man, and Travis Hunter, man, what can you say? They did their thing, man, pulling this game out. We're not really putting it out. Well, they put it out because the last
they
threw up the Hail Mary at the end. They wound up winning the game. I think it was 31 to 26. I think was the final score. But what you think? What was your take on it, man? That combination with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, DA.
Yeah, they got a pretty tough. They got a pretty tough combination, man. They those two are hard to stop. The only thing that I think is going to help hurt them would be if he keeps trying to play both ways, because we all know that that's probably not going to work. But they're almost, I'm not going to say impossible to stop, but they're pretty hard to stop. The defense, on the other hand, still got some challenges on the defense. I still don't see them as, because they rely so much. I mean, that Joe Horn is a beast as well. I mean, they got a 3-headed monster over there that's pretty strong. Shedeur is strong. They all strong, but the defense may be the weak point. They rely so much on Shedeur, and he does so much, man, to keep plays alive with his legs, and just sometimes a little too much. But you know, that's the way he plays. You know, he plays like that, and he seemed like he put on some weight too. He was running a little fat, a little thick for a couple times. I was like, man, has he gained weight? And I think he put on a few pounds. But
you talking about Shedeur?
Shedeur.
Oh yeah, they said he around about, I think he played last year about 198 or somewhere in there. They say about I want to say about 218.
Yeah, man.
He was trying to beef up a little bit. Yeah.
He looked chunky, man. I think he would have been all right at the other, like, you know, a little over 2. But yeah, he's looking kind of chunky, and he's got to learn how to run better and not take so many hits, man. Because he was taking so many hits. I was like, oh my God, dude. Even if you had a good line, you know, they can't block forever. You know, sometimes you just got to get off the ball or just get up out of there. But they came away with a win. I wasn't impressed with it, but they won. So
yeah, you got chalked it up in the bag. I think Dion was saying the same thing too. We happy about the W, but he put the players, especially the defense, in the proper position to play, and they still, you know, gave up some big plays here and there. But you know, to be honest with you, North Dakota State University, they got a very good program. You know, they've been around for a little
I like
bit.
that quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought they played a pretty good game on the road.
They played a very good game to be in hostile territory.
Yeah. But you know, I think that combination, man, and I agree with you. You know, the only thing I say when I think about Travis Hunter, I really think about, like, it's just different on the next level. And even Dion understanding he was a, I'm going to say, let me take the, I almost said the wrong thing. Dion was not a two-way player, but he played two ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He played
it's a big
two
difference.
ways.
It's
so
a big difference.
For him to sit there and talk about Travis Hunter, like Travis Hunter is him, like Travis is that guy. I'm saying, Dion, you play sparingly on offense.
Every now
because at next level, man, you playing against the top NFL receivers, the Chase, the Justin
can't do
Jefferson,
it in the NFL.
The CeeDee Lambs.
You can't do it.
Nah, man.
I think he needs to go and focus on his wide receiver position, man, and go ahead and, because that's where he's gonna make the money anyway. So he may as well don't risk getting injured, hitting, trying to hit running backs and having these big linemen coming at you. I wouldn't even risk it. I just focus on offense. I'd play every now and then, some packages maybe, but I wouldn't be trying to play every down. That's crazy. You playing 2 games a game.
But you know something, and this is the thing, right? Because when I think about Trayvon Diggs, see, those guys made the transition in college. Darron Bland, they was playing receiver. They wind up going over to the offensive side of the ball. So they was able to get more NFL ready by playing that position. I'm gonna be honest with you. Dion, and he should know this. I know he knows this. Travis Hunter, he plays because he plays so many plays in a total game, the totality of the game. He doesn't necessarily get enough reps at one position. So, for example, when he get to the next level and he's playing against, let's say an all-pro corner, let's say an all-pro corner. Well, he haven't had a whole lot of reps at receiver though. For those guys, man, they play a total different. They have a total different mentality on that next level, right? Because this is a business.
But he playing the whole game, Jabril. How can you say that he play every play? How is that enough? Now he playing every play.
but what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is like the plays that he's putting in on defense. I feel like they need to preserve him so he can even be more explosive on offense. Because I don't know.
I agree.
Because in terms of endurance, when he get to the next level and you playing against all pro guys on both sides of the ball, it's kind of like when you play against that DB that's going to lock you up, that's going to really bump and run you, are you going to have enough receiver skills? Because right now it's basically just he's doing these dudes like this on talent.
Jabril, he ain't gonna be able to make it this year. Like you talking about the next level, he ain't gonna be able to finish it out on this level. Mark my words. You can't do it. It's a reason players don't do it.
Every play, I put it like this: for every time he's out there on both sides of the ball, and we know we don't wish anything bad on him, but that's the hurt business. And for every play that he's out there, the risk of him getting hurt, it goes up.
And that's anything.
It just goes up.
Yeah, you putting twice the pressure on your body than anybody else in the whole game. Why? Man, don't do your body like that. Like you got a long way to go. It's like I would put him in on packages, focus on offense, and then if it's 3rd and 8 or third, send him in on 3rd downs to help you out. Man, I wouldn't be having him playing all the running plays and having to take on blocks and come up and try to stop running backs. I would a coach, I wouldn't.
Well, I tell you what, I just feel like it's time for them to kind of scale it down and really find out what is he going to be. Is he going to be a receiver? Is he going to be a defensive back? Whichever way they go, I think he's talented enough, as we know, to do, have a package here and there on the next level. But man, playing the way he's playing now in college is not going to work on the next level. It's just not going to work. Not with those many plays. And I just feel strongly that he need to be getting more and more reps at one position to bring to really maximize their talent, because I'm not saying he won't be able to get it on the next level, because whatever team decides to draft him, they say, hey, we're going to put you at defensive back. Now he's going to have to really, really learn the bump and run coverages and all the little nuances of playing defensive back, setting him back a little bit, because I'm quite sure when in college, when the defensive backs are practicing, he's not on that end down there. They got him on the other end down there, on the offense practicing. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
getting those reps to hone your skills in more so than anything.
I get it now.
But let's switch over right quick to Florida State, man. I need to know what's going on with your Seminoles, man. They done dropped.
Man.
They done dropped.
I said though after the first game, I was like, I was debating somebody on social media, Jabril, that because Nick Saban had picked them to be in the playoffs, so they lost the first game, and I went on and I said, well, man, you can they can kind of chalk it up now. You lose to Georgia Tech, that ain't even one of the strong teams. Ain't none of them really strong in the division, but you lose to Georgia Tech out of all the teams. And then I had a guy going back and forth with me saying, no, man, they can still win it. But I said, man, no. He was like, man, the other teams are weak. I said, what if they one of the weak ones? You don't get it. They could be the weak team. You just saying because it's Florida State. We always putting teams because they did this last year up here. And I went back and that's my team. And I said, bro, what if they the weak team? And he was like, no, man, trust me, they're going to win it. I said, I don't know. And then you come out and lose 28-13. It's a wrap. You ain't even in the top 25 right now. You ain't going to get back to 12.
It would be
not in that division, not in that conference. You can't lose 2 in the ACC and make nothing.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be it'll be really, really tough for them to
division too weak. The division's too weak.
The only way I think now, and this is just really a long shot, is for you got several other teams with 2 losses and they go in and win the ACC. You know what I mean? You have to have probably about, I'm thinking at least probably about 5 teams will have to have 2 losses, and still you have to win out the rest of the game.
If they win the
conference play yet.
But the ACC, is that one of the Big 5?
One of the Power 5 schools?
Yeah, conferences. I think it is.
I think so. Yeah.
If they win that, they automatically get in. I'm just saying because the top 5 get automatic bid. The conference winners get automatic bid. The 5 conferences. Whoever win, no matter what your record is, if you win, you get in.
Okay, so they're going to automatically get them a bid if they win.
I'm saying they're not good enough to win it. That was my point to him. Maybe you looking at it like just because they Florida State, and I'm thinking, no, they're just not good. They're just not a good team.
Yeah. Well, I want to know, they man, 0-2, that's such a that's a tough hole to dig yourself out of. You don't want to be behind, that far behind, especially I think they still in the conference with Clemson as well as North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And you can't even discount Duke because that quarterback that left Texas, I think Malik Jefferson is his name. Duke might surprise some people. They may surprise some people. So we got to look out, for who comes out of ACC and see if Florida State can't rebound. But man, they got a long way to go. Now let's talk about this. Let's talk about this game on Sunday evening, man. LSU and USC, and I think LSU did everything, man, to get this game away. They definitely had this game in the bag. I feel they just let it. They just let it go. There was a big play on this drive right here. As you can see, the score was 20-20, 18 seconds left. But I think this play right here, this targeted hit, is what moved them even closer, man. And they try to coach.
And it was a heck of a catch too.
Yeah, heck of a catch, heck of a concentration. They try to coach these kids, man, and for whatever reason, they just don't get it. And it put USC. And USC, it was pretty much trying to give them the game, hand them the game, but mistake after mistake after mistake. And that's what they was kind of talking about, how they wish that college, now that they got 12 teams going into the playoff, how they wish that they would have like at least one warm-up game in the college ranks. I don't know if that'll ever happen.
What do you mean by that? What's a warm-up game?
They were talking about I was one of the players was talking about them, how they have a preseason game, because they saying with the margin being so narrow of teams making it to the playoffs, you don't want to try to give away any game. So they figured the first game to make a lot of mistakes.
But that's backwards. If you're going to have a practice game, you should have had them when it was on 14. You don't need no warm-up now. They taking 12. So if you were any kind of decent, now's the time where you don't need a warm-up game because you can lose 1 or 2 and still get in. So I don't know about that argument right there.
I
don't know about that one.
Yeah, they was talking about, some of the players, man, they was questioning, whether or not if they should have a preseason playing about 1 or 2 scrimmages. But now I will say this, because high school do have scrimmages. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they do too. Colleges have scrimmages too.
Who are they? What team do
They
they
even had
scrimmage?
preseason. I watched some preseason college this year. They have preseason games.
You saying like USC was scrimmage? Let's say North Carolina. You seen a scrimmage like that?
I saw a yes, college scrimmage,
Oh,
preseason
I hadn't
college
seen
game.
that.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
look it
but
up.
if they implemented that, then I'd like to be able to see.
But it's 12 teams. You can't whine now. It's too late. you don't need a
Well,
one. You
now the
just 12.
season definitely have
I don't mean
started.
you. I mean them.
Yeah, the season have definitely started, man. So they're gonna have to probably think about that in the off season when they go to the
But
rules committee.
don't schedule USC.
I wouldn't mind if they now not a game per se, but if they did the way we did, like in high school, we every year we scrimmage card in high school, but we wanted to play them on the clock so bad. I don't know why they didn't make that game. It behooves me, and now they in the same district, right? But it was like, why do we just scrimmage them? Why we just don't play them? Why we don't just play, change it up, switch it up, and play Dallas Kimball or Dallas?
It don't
It was
work like
always the same Kingston Roosevelt and who else was it? It was always three and South Oak Cliff. So I don't know. Maybe they talk about it, man, off season with so much going on. But we'll see, man. But we'll see. But like I said, I finished 4-1, DA. I finished 4-1. I called money, good money. I was back and forth with LSU and USC, and I kept thinking, well, they lost Caleb Williams. I even said it on the show. They lost Caleb Williams. But at the same time, LSU lost Malik Neighbors and the other receiver, Jaden Daniels, and so forth. So I felt like
I'll tell you exactly why I picked them, Jabril. Because because USC lost Caleb Williams, and Lane Kiffin is known for, he's a coach, right?
Right.
Or is that Lincoln Riley? Which one of them is the coach?
Lincoln Riley is the coach for USC. Lincoln Riley.
And they're just known for not having any defense. That's the two reasons I picked him. He lost his quarterback, and he's known for not having defense. I didn't know he had this new defensive coordinator, this brother over there now, who got them boys at least playing. They can compete now. They can shut you down sometimes. So I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they came out and played. It was a stifling game. It was a stifling defensive play game.
Yeah,
first couple of quarters, man, and I think USC got in field goal position, made a field goal, and then LSU found a way to come down and score. But like I said, there was a couple times they got into the red zone. There was a turnover here, a penalty there.
Then unsportsmanlike conduct where you backed up 15, then the dude running 50 yards on you, man. That's where you got to have discipline, man. These dudes are so worried about how they look. Man, you got a whole game. I tell my team, we got a whole game to play. I don't want to see no dancing, no shaking, no booty, none of that. Focus on the next play. Like Kobe Bryant, man, ain't got time to celebrate. I got to think about the next play. So now they get a penalty, back up. Now the dude run the ball all the way down, to scoring position that quick. Then the other dude's taking his helmets off on the, and it's just too much of that extra that has nothing to do with football.
Well, I tell you what, I know head coach Brian Kelly, man, he was definitely
he was hot.
Spearing a lot of he was hot in fist grease. He was definitely spearing a lot of disappointments and the thing that they did not capitalize on. But that's the way it is in game one. But again, I think it's going to be a couple of losses by the time we get to December and January. So LSU just got to go back to the drawing board. That was a big win. It was played on a neutral site, and I guess a little bit closer to California, but it was in Vegas. Right. So hey, it is what it is. But DA, we got to turn the page, man. We got to turn the page and get into this topic, man, that everybody's talking about locally in the Dallas area, man, with fallen police officer Darron Burks, who was executed, killed, however you want to name it, last Thursday while sitting in his patrol car by a lone wolf assailant by the name of Corey Cobb Bay, I should say. And what's interesting is that we just had a conversation last week in regards to a friend of mine who was, desperate, if you will, desperate for whatever reason, desperate mentally, intellectually, wasn't thinking clearly, irrational thinking. And when you're at your weakest, your very weakest, that's when Shaitan does his best number. And I believe this is exactly what this individual, man, took it upon himself, went out, executed this brother, beloved brother, by the way. I didn't know him personally, DA. I don't know if you did. And to be honest with you, I was kind of a little bothered by that because I was like, man, it seemed like I know a lot of people know me in the community, man. I saw it in the beginning. I really didn't know what was going on. And I remember the first, I think one of the brothers that I know who's an Omega Psi Phi, because he was of the fraternity Omega Psi Phi, had posted something. So I'm just thinking maybe brother just, died in a car accident or something. I mean, I really wasn't sure. So we talking about a couple of days had gone by, and then realizing what had happened, I was like, my mouth was wide open, like, man. And then the outpouring love that the brother have been receiving, I was kind of like, I never seen him, but we never crossed paths. So that was kind of interesting, because I knew a lot of people that knew him. That's why I'm saying that. But let's look at some of the outpouring love that goes out to Officer Darron Burks, man. This is some of the things that people had to say.
We're grieving the loss of our brother Darron Burks, Lord.
You can't say anything bad about him. Always a beautiful spirit. Always made an impact wherever he went. Just a nice brother, good heart.
The thing is, y'all, Burks was a trendsetter. And like we said, I don't even know if we ever heard Burks say a curse word. He was just an amazing example.
This was hard. This young man laid down his life for what he believed in. He believed in Omega Psi Phi. He believed in service to his community. He believed in helping those who couldn't help themselves. He believed in having people's back and helping the community get better. And it's very unfortunate that we lost a good soldier, a wonderful brother, outstanding brother. There'll never be another like him. And we're thankful to have been a part of his life or allowing him to be a part of our lives.
And the brother that was speaking, that was my guy, Ken Frazier, owner of Winners Barbecue. I've known Ken and his wife, Regina, for quite some time now, probably over 20 years. And I text him and wanted to check on his mental health and making sure that, his mind was still intact, and wanted to send him my condolences, man. But this is a very, very unfortunate thing, DA. And before you respond, I just want to say, one of the things that really bothered me, and I'm not saying that would have made it even better, because anytime you're talking about police officers who are sworn to protect and serve, and based on the information that I've been receiving regarding Officer Darron Burks, he was definitely a community guy, someone who was willing to serve. But what bothers me more than anything was that they showed the video when the brother, the young brother, Corey Cobb Bay, went up to two officers who was of another persuasion, two white officers, and was making conversation with them and didn't do anything. But he saw an opportunity to consult with brother Burks, and you decided to execute him. And it's just sad to see on any level. But I'm just thinking, but you killed the brother, but you don't. I don't know, man. I don't know what
say it all the time.
It's crazy to me, man. I mean, if that was your intentions, and again, I want to be very clear, I wouldn't have been in agreement with neither of it. But I'm saying, what is the psychological thing when you go and do this to an African American brother, and you see the outpouring love from the community that this brother had? And I don't get it, DA. But go ahead.
Yeah, man. Condolences to that brother's family, friends. I got a couple different takes on it. First thing was the friend that we talked about who committed suicide, right? The brother in who we talked. What was his name again?
Jerry.
Yeah. I don't want to. I definitely don't want to tie those together, Jabril. Those are two. That brother wasn't hurting anybody. His goal was not to hurt anybody. It's almost like he would rather hurt himself than, you know what I'm saying? So I don't. He didn't have it out. He didn't wake up saying,
right,
I want to go and murder us. At no point was that his intention, I don't think.
Right.
But, so that's the first point. And then I watched some of this brother's videos, and he was just so paranoid about law enforcement. You know, I just know his brain was fried. One of the videos, he was staring up in the sky, and it's like almost he was seeing aliens and talking about,
The
you know,
drones.
all kind of stuff, talking about nature ain't gonna allow nature. He was just so thrown that, I mean, we see people like that, and it doesn't raise an eyebrow, and maybe it should. You know, we always say, "Oh, that's social media." I mean, but I understand. There's so many people make weird comments. You can't just zoom in on every person that makes weird social media posts. But he was like, he was there. He was mentally gone, and his videos showed that he wasn't wrapped too tight. And people look at the feds and think, oh, those Moors, and man, that had nothing to do with no Moors. Moors don't go around executing people like that. People don't. No group of people just does that unless that's what their group does. So you can't single out the Moors when it comes to one of these dudes. He just put on a fez. How serious do we know he was about it? You can't just, because he had that on, single out that group, because it was obvious that he had his own issues. And one more thing I got to say about it, man, and this is not a shot at anybody, but it just crossed my mind, so I'm not gonna hide it. I'm just gonna say it. This is the part about the community that needs to change. We are so good about, after something happens, then we rally. We come together. We do that. We never come together. I ain't gonna say never, but we gotta practice. We need these groups in the community before things happen. Like, we can't wait till this happens or that happens and now everybody comes to a visual. I ain't saying anything wrong with that, but you get my point. It's like we need to be more proactive. Like, when we're doing things in the community, I be wanting brothers to, man, come out, support these kids or help me. You know what I'm saying? And it just don't happen. But then soon as something happens, then we gather. We just need to start gathering, doing things like all the support he got. Let's have a fight the violence rally. Let's start rallying in the communities where we see all of this gun violence is. We need to be available before things happen. We just can't keep being reactive to everything. Like, that was one of my thoughts when I saw all of the outpouring. I'm like, man, this brother served. He did his part. He served in the class. He served in the community. We need more of y'all to come and you ain't got to do what he did, but just show up sometime. So that was one of my takes on it.
Yeah, well, I want to show another clip, and this is actually the individual Corey Cobb Bay, and I'm gonna speak about this in just a second here to clear up some things that I was definitely wanting to push back as it relates to MST, which is the More Science Temple. But here's the individual Corey Bay.
Corey Cobb Bay,
I'm telling you, bro.
the author of the worst tragedy DPD has seen in 6 years, and some answers to the question why.
Our officers were targeted for nothing more than the uniform they wear and for the brave and honorable job that they do.
Found on Cobb Bay's social media. Here he is filming a drone in his area, calling it the devil. Video that was shot right before doing the unthinkable.
The suspect then pulled out a handgun and executed Officer Burks as he sat in his vehicle.
This 46-year-old Darron Burks, he was in his squad car in a parking lot off Ledbetter Thursday night between calls when Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia says Cobb Bay approached the vehicle, shooting and killing him with little to no warning. Garcia says Cobb Bay was filming the moment.
Is there any problem else?
Much like he did earlier this month, approaching an unmarked unit of officers, asking them why they were in his neighborhood. The gunfire captured on a nearby doorbell camera. A dispatcher sending 2 other officers to the scene to check on Burks when they heard an unusual sound on his radio. Both exchanging gunfire with Cobb Bay when they were fired upon, Garcia says. Both were hit. One officer, Carissa David, hit in the face and still hospitalized. Cobb Bay showing off a pistol and a shotgun with a high-capacity drum magazine on Facebook. Similar weapons, police say they recovered after a chase with him that...
Okay, and we seen some of the news coverage talking about this this tragedy, this horrible incident. But one of the things that definitely bothered me, and I know you probably didn't get a chance to listen to it, we was talking about it before we actually came on to the show this evening, during the conference of what the police chief, Dallas Police Chief Garcia, in his conference was asked the question regarding the Moore Science Temple, and they used the word sovereignty, and then I know his dad had a clip, and I didn't. Maybe I'll do that because we don't have a special guest to come on with us on Thursday. Bring that clip up when he was talking about he was studying some Muslim thing he really didn't know. So my pushback on that was simply this: for those of you who don't know, and thank you all for coming on. This is the Replay the Culture Sports Show, and we're talking about Officer Darron Burks, the tragedy shooting of a slain officer who was definitely a pillar in the community. But one of the things when they brought this up to let people know that this whole history of the Muslim, I wouldn't say Muslim, but Moore Science Temple. Let me give the correct information. Was an organization. It's a spiritual organization, and you and I both agreed, DA, that you cannot take a brush and paint everybody and say they're the same. This guy was definitely like he had smoked something almost, because individuals whom I know that knew him, I spoke with, stated the same thing. It's like he kind of went off. He went derailed. And that organization started in Newark, New Jersey back in 1913 under Timothy Noble Lee, as they call him, is an organization of civics, and they assigned to or adhere to the Treaty of Morocco of 1786. And so they have principles, they have tenets, they have the Article 7, and there are no way in shape or form about violence. And so that's one of the things I wanted to make sure that we get some clarity about. This is one lone wolf guy, isolated, that made up in his mind based on some of the other rhetoric that he was indoctrinated on, that he himself must have misinterpreted, that made him go out and do such heinous of an act to take a young man's life. This brother was in education for 20 years, 46 years of age, and from my understanding, the reason why he chose to go to transition or pivot to become a police officer was because the kids that he was teaching up at the Texas Academy, some of them would complain about the environments that they was out of, and with all the reports that was going on, he felt like he wanted to do something different and be a part of the solution and not the problem, and he did that. So for this individual to take information or study some other information that has absolutely nothing to do with MST, the Moore Science Temple, I think is a tragedy. I think it's a tragedy on all levels with this organization that I've studied way back in the late 80s, early 90s. They've always been known for spiritual leadership. And if anything they had pushback on is the United States government in terms of them trying to break the treaties, like they've always broken treaties with different, even Native Americans and so forth, and them trying to keep them to hold up the 1786 Moroccan Treaty, excuse me. And that's been the issue more than anything. So they do a lot of their fighting inside the courtrooms, but never to go out and take an innocent life. So this is, again, I had hopefully we'll be joined this Thursday by my good brother Marcus Bay, because he knew this individual. He knew both of them. And it's really been weighing on his heart. And I just happened to reach out to him and let him know, man, that I was thinking about him, and he really, really appreciated me getting in contact with him, like I did with some of the Omega Psi Phi brothers that knew Officer Burks. But this is a tragedy on all level. Again, I said I didn't know Officer Burks personally. I never seen him in the community. I never crossed paths with him. Yeah. And I felt a little bit disappointed because I was like, wow, man, with so much outpouring love, you know, usually you see brothers like we knew Chris Jackson, right? We knew Officer Jackson. We grew up with him with the comments. He was a brother to us, man, and we know his death over a year ago, a little over a year ago now, was hard on a lot of us. So we understand, man, a lot of these brothers, man, are from this area. Man, they grew up in this area, and we have a lot of respect for police officers who does their job the right way, the correct way, and with balance. You know, those are the officers who don't misuse or abuse the law. You know, they're up to uphold the law. It's just a handful. I did like what Police Chief Garcia, I like what he said when they asked him the questions regarding surrounding the Moors and so forth. He said no. He said I wouldn't paint that organization with a big brush the same way they shouldn't paint one police officer that goes out there and do what he does. Don't paint the whole entire department. See, the community has to work together. And DA, I probably should have said this to Thursday, but I'll just say it now because as I was sharing with one individual, I said, let me tell you something. If I told you just half, I mean, you know half of it, but if it told you a little bit more just of what I've had to do with government and police officers and everything, you're talking about somebody who can have that type of disposition.
Mm-hmm.
I got reasons to feel what I feel. You know what I'm saying?
And he didn't.
But I know God has always allowed me to raise my horizon and purify me to look at the bigger picture, because you can't paint the whole department with one brush. And that's the point that I'm making. Because if there was anybody that have a disdain or should have a disdain for government and for police work, misguided police work, let me say that, would be someone like me. But I got friends who've been on the force. The former deputy of police, who now is the police chief up in DC, Deputy Abdul Aziz, very good friend of mine, very good brother, friend of mine. Just talked about Chris Jackson. We had many of them, but again, DA, this was such a tragedy on all levels, man. And you just hate to see things like this happen. But again, we talked about that mental health. This brother was actually suffering from something. And whatever that something is, man, he couldn't get his fingers around it or hold around it. And I think we have to do a much better job with that too. And along with what you was talking about, why do we wait till something happen, a tragedy, when we should be galvanizing ourselves to do more in the community, even checking up on a brother, you know what I'm saying? Checking up on their well-being, checking up on their welfare, seeing how they been, because mental health issue is a very serious issue, DA.
Yeah. I didn't know Darron personally, but I had seen him around several places, but we weren't personal friends. I recognized him when I saw him. I don't know if you knew it, but when we had partnered with 4 Oak Cliff, and like we were the Mavericks, they're like a subsidiary of the Mavericks. That was the building. That was where he got killed. That was the spot. That's who we were partnering.
Oh, because when they said the 4
Oak Cliff.
I remember you saying, and then the brother I was telling you that was playing in the NFL, he was talking about that same organization for. Okay, so that was the old
Moreland Y.
The Moreland Y, the Moreland Y,
So when I just saw him show a picture of the address of kind of where it was. They said it was. I said, man, I know that address from somewhere. And I'm like, why is that address ringing in my head? This before I knew where it was. And I just put that address in. And I was like, wait a minute, that's 4 Oak Cliff building. That's the parking lot he was sitting in. I was like, oh my God, man, that's cold blooded. But anyway, man, like you said, it's I don't know how we deal with this mental health crisis, man. But what could you do? I know everybody sits back and thinks, what could we have done? Like if you watch the videos, you just say in your mind, yeah, man, something ain't right with that dude. But he had demons, man. He talked about the police were demons, and I think that's them. You ain't doing nothing that's gonna make them wanna. You know what I'm saying? You ain't who they looking for. What are you doing? Like, you ain't selling. He was doing nothing for anybody to be focused on him, but he just assumed every time he saw a cop that they were focusing on him. I'm like, they probably focusing on you because you have a fez on. When you see a fez, you're gonna look. Like, people are gonna look and they're gonna stare. I always do. Black, white. If I see somebody with one on in public and it's not an event, I just focus on it. But he was just so paranoid about so many things, man. And I just can't understand, like, what in your brain says kill this brother right here. And I've always had a problem with that, even with the gangsters. And I'm like, you got George Zimmerman and all of these cops who killing us unarmed. y'all willing to go and do double life, triple life, 120 years for killing one of your own? Why don't you be a martyr if you want to? You know, if that's if you don't
Your
care,
mission,
if
right?
this your mission, you a mad dog. Go find George Zimmerman. Go.
Right,
Who is this
right.
cop that's been who killed and been raping? Like where are y'all? That's why I don't understand it, man. Y'all you claim to be warriors, gangsters, thugs, but it's always just somebody who's not important or just somebody who's not who's not much in the grand scheme of things that's your focus. And I ain't never understood that. And like this dude just decided, yeah, I want to kill this brother tonight. Like it just makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, and that's my thing again. And you hit the nail on the head, Da. I mean, if your mind is made up and that is your intentions, that's what when you woke up that morning and you was all in, as they say, you was all in. Why did you give the white officers a pass that was sitting in your same neighborhood? But you go and you kill the brother, you execute him. You understand? And that's
Who's
why
serving in his community ain't bothering you. He ain't following you. He's over here posted
and you
up.
know something, Da, with the information that I've been receiving in terms of, he was with the Boy Scouts of America. He helped train even young girls, of all different ethnic backgrounds. I mean, he was a part of I think it's called Run It Up, one of these they run like get into one of these marathon runners type organizations. He was into fitness. They said he didn't drink and smoke. And then to be up at the organization, the 4 for Life deal, I think that's what I forget if that's the correct name, but to be at that particular location, that's symbolic in and of itself, because like I said, that used to be the former YMCA. But there's kids a part of that organization and what they're trying to do. So maybe he felt compelled, you know what I'm saying? Like almost like, you know what? It's kind of like the work that he did and was doing, kind of like when you look at it, the silver lining in it all, at a place where young people gather to try to make a difference in the community. That's where he was sitting at inside his vehicle, right? When he met his death. And we was talking about this, man. There's this movie. I don't know. I just seen it. I'm not really into the occult like that, but every now and then I like to see what Hollywood is trying to do, because when they put these movies together, there's a lot of parables and allegoricals, and they put it out there in society. And one of the movies was a movie called Deliverance, right, by Lee Daniel, that's on Netflix. And I really kind of laughed at a lot of it because and I know it's probably been loosely based on a true story and all that. I get that too. But when you have of sound mind and you understand Hollywood, you understand the nature of, you understand how in the Holy Quran, there's a whole chapter that's called the jinn, 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 right? And the wise that understands this, they know what I'm talking about when I talk about the jinn nature. The jinn nature, they put it out. You remember I love no, not I love, I dream of genie, right? So the word genie was played on the word jinn, right? Just like when you drink an alcoholic drink called gin. And what do gin do? It heats up the chemistry inside your body, right? So the insightful part about this is that these spirits, and they call alcohol spirits.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to look outside yourself. This is when you remove the spookism, because you don't look outside yourself, you look within yourself. The problem is when people take off the top of the bottle and unleash the gin.
Yeah.
And you get your 3 wishes. Now I'm giving you some metaphors, right? But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to get you to understand is that this thing that people sometimes look outside of themselves is really within themselves. But you have to master it, and you have to control it, and you have to make that gin submit, because it can go either way. Right. Now, there are some people who play on the dark side. And when you start playing on the dark side, herein where lies the problem, wherein lies the evil. Because there's also another verse when God tells us to seek, when he used this Semitic language called Sharia. Sharia is when you're seeking God, you're seeking refuge with God from the things that are evil, the things that are in nature, the things that can do you harm, and you wind up doing more of misusing it for its purpose. Like, for example, alcohol, if you apply it right, is good in terms of medication, right? But if you drink it, then it can mess up your internal organs, right? We're talking about regular rubbing alcohol, right?
Yeah.
So it's meant for good, but you use it for bad.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, this is what people do when they read certain information and become indoctrinated or reading certain propaganda. They start using it for bad, because whatever was in your emotional makeup or your constitution or your disturbance, now it gets control of you, and you don't have control of it anymore. So these thoughts that we call Iblis, in Christian language, they say Lucifer, but these are thoughts. The shaitan or Satan doesn't show up until you actually do the act. See, it's just a thought. Now, how many times have you know, let's be honest here, because I know what I've, in my lifetime, I've ran into a few knuckleheads, and I may have had a thought or two, but I knew, no, this ain't where I need to take this. This is where I need to, pivot. This is where I need to learn self-restraint, if you will. But it was a thought. And Shaitan or Satan is hoping that you allow him to come alive once you commit the act. So it's more of an influence more than anything. And this young fella, Corey Bay, he started playing with the jinn. He started playing on the dark side of things, the sorcery side of things. You see? And it got control of him, and he couldn't control it. So when you unleash the genie out of the bottle, then you're going to see the Shaitan show up, or the Satan show up, and you're going to go do and commit that horrible act like he did. And that's really the scriptural insights of how, when we look back, we say, man, what was the sign? Did I see the sign? Did he ever show me a sign? What was there? Did he say, what did I miss? Those with rational minds start to think that way, because we saying, wait a minute, I spent time, like the individual I was telling you about. What made him go in and do that and then turn around and commit suicide? I just talked to you the other day. What did I miss? But a lot of times, man, it's like this. Like I say, when the genie haven't come out of the bottle yet, it's concealed. They conceal it until they keep getting that indoctrination or those whispers. And eventually, when you replan something over and over in your mind, something that you read, something that you kind of really wanted to do, but you kept trying to find a reason to do it, because in your really rational, sane mind, you knew that would be wrong, because you didn't have a real reason to do it, which is one of the reasons why I think you let those white officers off. Because if you go back, if you was on his page and you saw the video, he was kind of just like having a kind of jovial type conversation with them. But it was something that was inside of you that wouldn't compel you to go out and do the act against them. You see what I'm saying? See, this thing is so deep, man. It's much deeper than what's on the surface, DA.
True.
But I really I want to get into this more, man, and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more. Hopefully, God willing, on Thursday, man, we have a special guest, like I say, Marcus Bowden Bay, man, to come on with us and dialogue a little bit more, because I can see it crystal clear in terms of my training, upbringing, the way I think, and understanding the spiritual forces that goes into this thing. And when people talk about mental health, and it's real, because some people, man, they don't know how to control the mentality of a thing, or control their emotions or their passions. And man, this society, man, I'm telling you, man, that's why I say, again, I agree with you wholeheartedly, DA. We need to start, man, checking up on people and looking people in their eyes. Why? Because they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. Sometimes we just gloss over a person and say, oh, he good, she good, she all right. And it'd be and before you knew it, you done walked around the block and somebody done came around and done shot up the whole section of people sitting in.
Yep.
So yeah, man. So
that's true.
This thing is really deep, man. So I want to, again, man, play this clip one more time with a brother, man, and the things that were said about Officer
you can't
Darron
say anything
Burks.
bad about him. Always a beautiful spirit. Always made an impact wherever he went. Just a nice brother, good heart.
The thing is, y'all, Burks was a trendsetter. And like we said, I don't even know if we ever heard Burks say a curse word. He was just an amazing example.
This was hard. This young man laid down his life for what he believed in. He believed in Omega Psi Phi. He believed in service to his community. He believed in helping those who couldn't help themselves. He believed in having people's back and helping the community get better. And it's very unfortunate that we lost a good soldier. a wonderful brother, outstanding brother. There'll never be another like him. And we're thankful to have been a part of his life or allowing him to be a part of our lives.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. We salute this brother, man. Officer Darron Burks, dead at the age of 46. We pray and hope that his mom, his family, man, and everyone that knew Brother Burks, man, is comforted, and that they find peace and solace. And if he would, touched your life and was a part of your life, hold on to the good memories that you have. I'm always talking about it, DA. We come into this life by God's permission, and we exit this life by God's permission. But nobody knows the time, the day, or the hour and how we will exit this life. And that's the thing, man. We don't know. Right. You can wake up just thinking the next day was just supposed to be another day. And I'm quite sure that's the way he felt. Going out to serve, he put the uniform on, going out in the community to serve and to be a part of the solution and not the problem.
Right.
And of course, so again, I know in my faith, in Islam, we know, man, when you're called to duty and you're in the path of God and you're doing it for God, then it's paradise. It's paradise.
Right.
So knowing that, it leaves comfort in knowing that. And I would say that to his family, and those who, many people that he touched. So we want to talk about it. Hopefully this is just part one. We'll come back on Thursday and do a part two and speak about this mental health thing. And maybe we'll have some more information to share regarding the situation. I know they have his funeral and everything. Y'all check on the internet for all of that. I know they went to Westland. I think Westland, yeah, Westland Funeral Home, something. And I think they're supposed to have it at water something church. But all the information is there. So again, DA, what we're gonna do before we close out? I know we got some things. It's a little house cleaning, man. We'll do our picks for Thursday night game. I think Kansas City Chiefs go into, and you have to start fact checking me on that, DA, because
they in Kansas City.
If they on the road or if they at if they visiting or what.
You remember when you were talking about it? I'm like, you sure, man? Because this sure look like a lot of black. I'm looking at a lot of black jerseys. Colorado travel like that.
Yeah. And what's crazy when I went back and saw it, man, I was just hitting my forehead several times, like, man. And
I almost picked them. Thinking they went home.
Yeah, I know. You're like, that's a whole lot of
black. Like, man, that dude tried to trick me into picking the other squad, man, thinking they at home.
Yeah. We gonna do that hopefully on Thursday, man. We'll pick and we didn't get a chance to talk about the loss.
I got the Ravens, by the way.
You gonna have the Ravens?
I got the Ravens. I need y'all picks by tomorrow.
Oh, and I don't know, man. Booker say he gonna, like I said, I didn't reach back out to him.
I ain't worried about it. Man, we'll see Booker at the barbershop. He ain't coming back to the show.
Right. Well, Texas A&M Aggies, man, they lost like I knew they would, man. I just didn't see.
I didn't know their quarterback was that bad. I'll never pick them again. I saw their quarterback. That's all I need to see. Not good.
Yeah. I said the same thing. That quarterback, I think, is way.
You can see it, man. You can see it. Even quarterbacks that lose, you can see it, in the eyes. Like, okay, let me see how you look in this situation. Well, you got any football swag? Nah, man, you ain't got it.
Right. We'll have all our picks together, both NFL and college game. I'm up 1 right now, and I'm gonna sustain that. I'm 4-1, you 3-2. I'm gonna sustain that. We'll see how we do when the NFL kick off this Thursday. So hopefully we'll get back Thursday. We'll have a part 2, man, honoring his brother, Officer Darron Burks. So for those of y'all who had jumped on with us, we thank y'all for coming on to the Replay Sports Culture Show. We appreciate you. Don't forget again to hit that like, subscribe, share, notification button, because we are still growing the channel. And we're here Tuesdays and Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, you got anything you want to say right quick?
Nah, man, all good. We did a nice little stick up, slap together show.
Okay. All right, well, to all of y'all again that came on with us, don't forget to tell a friend. We'll be back at you. But until then, make sure you stay safe, lock your doors, keep your prayers up, And always keep God first in everything that you do. Peace and love. We'll see y'all on Thursday.
Peace. Where's